There is a wild trade proposal from an NBA writer that has Lauri Markkanen heading to the Lakers, which would for sure gut the Lakers of their future assets. Also, Austin Reaves recently spoke about his new teammate, Bronny James, and how excited he is to be a part of history and excited to see Bronny grow as an NBA player. What's good, y'all, and welcome to another Lakers Digest video. I'm your host, Okechi Apakama, and before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get those Laker updates. Now, without further ado, let's hop straight into today's topics. A lucrative trade proposal. So, we have reached that point in free agency where free agency has essentially died down, and now it is just about those early trade seasons before training camp for teams to really button up their roster and really get it to where they want it to be before that season starts. And Lauri Markkanen is the big name out there, as a lot of teams have been talking with the Utah Jazz about a possible deal. So an NBA writer just put this out there recently that the Lakers would be involved with the Utah Jazz in a trade, and it is a pretty high price that the Lakers are paying for in this trade here, as the Lakers would be receiving Lauri Markkanen, which I do think he's a good player, but more on him later. But the Lakers would be giving up Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, their 2028 first round pick, a first round swap of the 2029 pick, and then also another first round pick in 2031. Now, obviously, it can't be back-to-back years that the Lakers trade picks, so that's why it is the 2031 pick and then also the 2028 pick. But as far as this is concerned, this type of move would gut the Lakers of their future assets and essentially be saying that Lauri Markkanen would be the difference for them to make a championship run. And as good as I think Lauri Markkanen is as a player, and then also what he can bring on the defensive end with his improved defense there, but I don't think he is going to be the one who is going to push the Lakers over the top in a sense, especially when you're trading away a guy like Austin Reaves, who's a very high-level playoff performer, and also Rui Hachimura, who's very solid, but obviously Markkanen is a better player than him. So to trade Hachimura for him, I understand, but all of those first-round assets would really be gutting the Lakers and just hoping that Markkanen will be the guy for the future for the Lakers. And then you also have to re-sign him, as I do believe he's up for an extension here with the Utah Jazz. So this trade, I do think, just basketball-wise, if we're talking about it, definitely it helps the Lakers, because sticking in Lauri Markkanen right next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis would be a crazy fit. Lauri Markkanen is a 3-level scorer, and he's arguably one of the best big man shooters out there, because he's about like 6'10", 6'11", and then he's had his improved defense and then also improved rebounding numbers. So there's a little bit more in that article of what Lauri Markkanen could bring, and then so the Lakers, if they would fall under the tax line by offloading Reaves, Hachimura, and Markkanen for $18 million contract, but forward will be a free agency next season, meaning the Lakers could add another huge salary next to LeBron James and Davis next season. A different worry entirely. It might be best for Lakers to stay away from this deal for a variety of reasons, but with the knowledge that this might be their best win-now deal the franchise could make. Now, I kind of disagree with that point about this being the best win-now move right now, because the certain move for the Lakers hasn't really presented itself. Markkanen is the best player available currently right now, probably with the exception of Zach LaVine. But Markkanen is a guy that hasn't played in the playoffs before, so you don't know what type of player you're going to get when the lights shine brightest. And that's what really happens with the Lakers from day one for most players who haven't played with the Los Angeles Lakers. You have to be ready for those big lights, those big moments. And I'm not sure if a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who hasn't played in a high-level basketball game in quite some time, will be up to that challenge. But let's just take a look at his stats from last season. And Markkanen was tremendous, averaging about 23 points per game, to go along with 8.2 rebounds a game, 2 assists, and about 0.9 steals per game, which is pretty solid for a guy of his stature. He shot 48% from the field and 39, so almost 40% from 3. And he shot about 43% on his corner 3 shots. So Lauri Markkanen, just as far as a basketball standpoint, he really does fit the Lakers really well. He's definitely not going to be the guy to be like a high-level defender, and he's going to go out and shut down those other wings. But that's why you keep a guy like Jared Vanderbilt in that trade, so you can have that opportunity to deploy him at points with Lauri Markkanen to really ease up that defensive load until Lauri Markkanen could really focus on that offensive end. And he can be that third scorer sometimes, especially say if LeBron James or Anthony Davis doesn't play in a game. Then you have a Lauri Markkanen who can definitely get you 25 in a game fairly easily with his ability to score at all three levels, get to the line, and then also some improved playmaking as well. So just a little bit more about that article about Markkanen. And so his Markkanen would be a seamless offensive fit. He would be able to stretch the floor. He would also be running offense at non-LeBron minutes. A crucial issue for the Lakers last season. His improved playmaking, his reliable shot making him a compatible fit with almost every lineup variation for the Lakers. He could be front court with Vanderbilt in non-Davis minutes, thrive off offensive gravity, both James and Davis, while playing alongside of him. So there is definitely a lot of basketball reasons why the Lakers would do this. But the main drawbacks for me for a trade like Lauri Markkanen is not basketball related. It is all what the Lakers are giving up. So first and foremost, Austin Reaves. We've been very adamant about not trading Austin Reaves unless it was for a superstar of very high level talent and multiple all-star guy. And then Lauri Markkanen, while he is an all-star, he isn't a multi-time all-star, and then I don't know if he is going to be up to that task and playing in the brightest lights in LA. So I'm not too sure about that. And then also giving up those 2 first-round picks and the pick swap. So essentially, you are just throwing your future into the hopes that Lauri Markkanen will be the one for your team. And then if he isn't, then you're in a really dire situation where you have an aging Anthony Davis and then also Lauri Markkanen, who is still young enough, but then you still don't know if he's going to sign that contract in the future. And so you have a lot of uncertainty, and if LeBron retires by that point, then you're really at risk for those draft picks really being huge assets to a team like the Utah Jazz, as those could be lower picks for Los Angeles Lakers, especially if they aren't able to find that star player to really help replace LeBron James for that next frontier or the next era of the Lakers basketball. But these are just mock trades, and Markkanen could sign a deal with the Utah Jazz probably like tomorrow. So if that happens, then all of this gets squashed immediately. But let's move on to our next topic here, as Austin Reaves speaks out on Bronny. So it's obviously been well documented that LeBron James and Bronny will be the first father and son duo to play together in the NBA. And Austin Reaves was recently asked about it over because he's spending some time in China for his new shoe deal and stuff like that. And this is what Austin Reaves said about him and LeBron James and Bronny playing together. So he said, "It is crazy to think about," Reaves said. "Obviously for LeBron, he is 39, I believe going into year 22. For him to just put himself in a position to have the opportunity to play with his son, it's special. I know obviously for him, it's a very big thing. We've had conversations about it, and I know he'll be extra motivated to be at his peak level as always." So that is what Reaves said about LeBron James and Bronny James playing together, and he knows that LeBron is going to be very excited. There was also times during the Lakers season last year when Bronny James would go out and play in college, and if he played well, then it would just kind of give LeBron James some extra juice for that night and some extra fire, because he saw his son playing well, and that really juiced him and motivated him as a father, and then you would see that play out on the court. So having him in the same locker room could definitely do wonders for a guy like LeBron James. I was recently hearing a story about this was I believe from Jeff Teague's podcast, and then he was talking about the importance of Thanasis to Giannis, because a lot of people think that Thanasis doesn't need to be on a team just because he's his brother and he's not as good as Giannis, but Thanasis really helps Giannis from a mental standpoint, and he's just another guy, another friend to really have on the team, and then that really helps a guy like Giannis's and his psyche and his mental. So having his son on the team could really juice LeBron James, especially if there's points in time where Bronny James challenges him, maybe say in practice or things like that, and beats him in a challenge or something like that. Then you really start to get those competitive juices floating, and that can really elevate a guy like LeBron James, even though he's in his year 22nd season. And then Austin Reaves is just excited for the fact for a guy like Bronny James to grow in the NBA, as he knows how tough it will be for him, especially with all the scrutiny thrown his way. But he's excited to see him grow as an NBA player. I mean, he's been watching him grow for quite some time, especially because Bronny James has been in the Lakers facility for a little bit, especially him and Bryce at times working out with LeBron James. So Austin Reaves has gotten a little bit of a relationship with Bronny James beforehand. So, and also that time, if you guys remember in the playoffs, where Austin Reaves hit that half-court shot against the Golden State Warriors in Game 6 of the second round, he pointed to someone in the crowd, and he was actually pointing to Bronny James. So there's that relationship has been there for a little bit now, and then now they'll have that as teammates, and we'll see what kind of wisdom a guy like not only LeBron James has given to Bronny, but also what Reaves can give to a guy like him, because Austin Reaves was a two-way player, a guy who was kind of a fringe player at the end of the roster, and then he really played his well into regular minutes. So if Bronny James can grow up and develop in some ways that Austin Reaves did, then that would be a really huge get for a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, who a lot of people thought this would just be a throwaway pick and just kind of just something to satisfy LeBron James. But if Bronny James can be an actual player for the Los Angeles Lakers and really provide an impact, then sky's the limit for this guy. But that's going to be it for today's video. Make sure you guys comment down below what you think about that Lauri Markkanen trade. Do you think the Lakers should really send all their assets to get a guy like Lauri Markkanen, even though he can improve their team in the short term, but you are really mortgaging your future if you do? And then what do you think about what Austin Reaves said about Bronny James? Do you think that he could be a very good, say, sensei, for lack of a better word, to help a guy like Bronny James really come into his own as an NBA player? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.